settler colonial state that wants that for exclusively Jewish population. So the actual thing, and I went over this in Left Reckoning, but the language was saying we need one state for Arabs and Jews, Muslims, Jews, everyone to live together without this sort of project on top of it. So when she says, should Israel exist, should a exclusively Jewish state exist? And the answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, states don't have inherent rights to exist. People have rights to exist. And when states commit things like genocide, there should probably be some sort of reckoning in the sense of like a complete reimagining of what that state would look like. And that includes, did South Africa have a right to exist as a white state? No. And in the same way that Israel doesn't have the right to exist as an ethno-state, and especially one that is being fortified by billions of dollars in military aid by the world superpower. But
there are noticeably two ideologies that dislike ethno-states. The first group are the Islamists, who like the world to unite under one identity, the Islamic one, and through jihad and dawah try to force or socially appropriate the world under an Islamic identity.
That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I sent my messenger with the haqq and the truth and guidance to prevail over always. So we have hope. We have hope not that just Al-Aqsa will be liberated, because the Prophet ﷺ also prophesied that this deen will go to the four corners of the world wherever the light of the sun goes, wherever the day and night goes. So this ummah is not just going to liberate Al-Aqsa. We will liberate the whole of mankind from tyranny to the justice of Islam. We will liberate New York, Sydney, Moscow, Beijing, Paris, Bonn. Name any capital in the world. This ummah is going to do it.
Your nation, you have to love your nation, your qawm. All the prophets loved their people. But never make it to the point where it becomes over your deen. SubhanAllah, I came and met the brothers yesterday. Do you know what I said to them? I said, we, the Ottomans, we must re-invade Greece. This is the country of my father. But I think, brothers and sisters, I think we have to re-invade Greece. It has to be the connection is both. And the other point is, you have to understand where the secular Turks are coming from. Remember, there was a huge campaign, I'm not going to mention any names, that wanted to destroy Islam in this country. It's simple as that. If you read your own history, this person and others wanted to destroy Islam in your country. And I don't care how many pictures you have of him in this country. It's irrelevant. Haqq is haqq. At the end of the day, there was a campaign to destroy your deen. Take away your hijab, ban the adhan, change the Arabic language, destroy Zionist education. Is this a friend of Allah or a friend of shaitan? You make your mind up. I'm not going to give you the answer.
So Islamists want to erase the Greek and Turkish ethnic conscience and identity and replace it with the Islamic identity, something that is happening for centuries.
Rasa sayangi, rasa sayang badane, lihat dari jauh. Rasa sayang sayangi, rasa sayangi, rasa sayang badane, lihat dari jauh. Rasa sayang sayangi.
So I think we shouldn't exaggerate. But I think there is a narrative that Melanie, I must say, has been portraying over the years, that, this idea that the Muslims are taking over and Sharia law is, creeping Sharia law.
I just see them as potential Muslims. That's like, I see a pub as a future mosque. That's what I'm here to do. Not to keep this country, not to be a minority in this country, in a non-Muslim majority country. I want this country to become Muslim, obviously through a process of dawah and not through violence or anything like that.
This idea that the Muslims are taking over and Sharia law is, creeping Sharia law.
I just don't feel British at all. I feel Muslim first and foremost, always have done. Even when I was young, I didn't feel British. But England, there's an issue with England and the way Muslims are treated in England specifically. That's why I would never support England at football. That's why I love it when Argentina beat England on penalties at football.
SubhanAllah. So I think we shouldn't exaggerate.
But it's interesting. I mean, Remembrance Day. I mean, I don't know what your poppy is for a start, Robert. Why haven't got your poppy on? And absolute disgrace.
I know. What can I say? There is a type of poppy which we're going to discuss, which I might wear. It's a Palestine poppy, which is the right wing very much so. But the poppy has been adopted by the right wing, by racists. It's worn by war criminals like Tony Blair and all these sorts. I mean, what? I'm supposed to wear something alongside him? The murder of innocent people.
Seriously, don't bother celebrating Christmas this year. Don't bother singing Christmas carols about Jesus and Bethlehem when you support Israel murdering his people.
Moses was not a Jew. Moses was a Muslim. Jesus was not a Jew. He was a Muslim. Abraham couldn't have been Jewish. He definitely couldn't have been Christian. So what was he? He was a Muslim.
So, Islam that some, not me, might even call a mental disease and a social parasite, seek to subjugate people's cultural and historical memory with some kind of Islamic mythology that demands everyone to conform in a totalitarian way under the Islamic identity. The irony is that the same people claim that they care about Palestinian ethnic identity and want to liberate the so-called Palestinian ethnos. Of course, Islamists never believed in Palestinian ethnos, identity, country, nothing of that.
Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We've been asked in the past, why are our protests on the International Day of Quds, why are they so anti-America? Why don't we just focus more on Israel and not talk so much about America? Gaza has shown the entire world why these protests are so anti-America. Because it's the United States government that provides the funds for all of the atrocities that we just heard about. It's the United States that sells the weapons that allow all of the atrocities that we just heard about to continue to happen. It's the United States that uses its political power to veto ceasefires in that useless UN Security Council that itself is nothing but a tool of imperialism. And this is why Imam Khomeini, who declared the International Day of Quds, this is why he would say to pour all of your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America. And this is not some Iranian propaganda, because this is a position that has been recognized by people right here in the United States as well. The Black Panthers used to say that the United States is the backbone of all oppression in the world. Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth. It's the system that is rotten. It's a system of exploitation, of outright humiliation, degradation, discrimination, all of the negative things that you can run into, you have run into under this system that disguises itself as a democracy." And so when they say Genocide Joe has got to go, yes, he's got to go. He's going to go from the White House. Pretty soon he'll go from this world as well. But then who comes next? This is what Malcolm X was talking about when he spoke of the Republican wolf and the Democrat fox. They're both out to get you. They're both against you. So they have the system fixed. So that either way you turn, you're trapped, you're caught. Until you can wake up and realize that it's not Genocide Joe that has to go. It's the entire system that has to go. Any system that would allow such atrocities and such devilry to happen and would support it, such a system does not deserve to exist on God's earth. And so when these fools ask us if Israel has the right to exist, the chant "Death to Israel" has become the most logical chant shouted across the world today. This is no longer an extreme position. This is no longer a fringe position. This is the position of every single human being on earth that has a mind and has a heart and a soul and has a political insight and awareness.
The utter radical nonsense the person said previously, just now. Who do you it reminds? Please tell me. Okay, it's exactly the same radical nonsense and anti-Western bigotry and hatred we hear from the radical left. Exactly. If I took the Islamists who talked earlier, if I took the video out and I replace it with this lady, nobody will understand the difference. It's exactly the same rhetoric. We don't have democracy. The Iranian regime are the good people, the Islamists are the innocent victims, the good people. Okay, the same exact rhetoric. Word by word, guys. Is that right? CNN? Or maybe I misrepresent you. Okay. So, the second group that hates ethno-states is the radical left that believes we should not have borders and replace all ethnicities with a globalist, woke type of hybrid identity in which, listen to these people, dictators and terrorists are the good guys because they have the underdog identity, and capitalists are the bad guys because they have the wrong skin color. So the radical left makes identity politics.
Of like a complete reimagining of what that state would look like. And that includes, did South Africa have a right to exist as a white state? No. And in the same way that Israel doesn't have the right to exist as an ethno-state.
Yes, there are incredible things we're learning about Americans in the future, Aaron. It appears that in the future, Americans have evolved into a hairless, uniform mix of all races. They are all one color, which is a yellowy, light brownish, whitish color. It seems race is no longer an issue in the future because all ethnicities have mixed into one. Perhaps most interesting is how this has affected their language, that people in the future speak a complete mix of English, Chinese, Turkish, and indeed all world languages, which sounds something like this. Back to you, Aaron. Apparently the people from the future are having a pretty easy time finding work.
And especially one that is being fortified by billions of dollars in military aid by the world superpower. But I actually do want to hear what she has to say a little bit.
Unequivocal and unconditional right to life for all people, including Palestinians, then I'm not apologetic. I believe in what I believe, and it is because of the people around me that I've met at USC, the classes that I've taken, the professors that I have learned from, that have led me to look at the world in this way. And, it's unfortunate that, human rights is controversial.
The reason I'm asking is because that's what the link said. It called for the complete abolishment of Israel.
Okay,
abolishment
credit
of
removed.
Israel was in the actual language. Is that something that you endorse?
So the abolishment of the state of Israel, I'd like to clarify, is the abolishment of an apartheid system. It inherently is a system that subjugates Palestinians as dehumanized, and it subjugates Palestinian life as not worth the same as other human life. So when the link says...
So is that a yes then?
I think a yes or a no would be an injustice to the issue. And I think that any sort of ideological debate or any sort of academic discourse is worth clarification and worth discussion.
There you go.
Just to read the actual language here that Abby Phillip...
Who I was about, I mean, I hadn't seen that part yet. So
Bring that energy to the IDF people you have on, Abby, would be my advice. But
I'm sure there's producers in her ear being like, push back, push back, push back. So,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The one-state solution, this is what it says, either a Palestinian state or a complete Israeli state advocates for one state in which both Arabs and Jews can live together. However, a one-state solution under the Israeli government would essentially mean that the Palestinian people would be completely under the state of Israel in every way imaginable. One Palestinian state would mean Palestinian liberation and the complete abolition of the state of Israel. That is the only way towards justice. Both Arabs and Jews can live together without an ideology that specifically advocates for the ethnic cleansing of one of them. Palestinians would be allowed to return home and millions of Palestinians would not have to live under occupation and apartheid. Where's the lie?
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely right. But let's also point out that the fact that she's wearing a hijab, the fact that she is a Muslim American person is inherent to this as well.
Also biomedical engineering valedictorian.
I know. Well, she met all of the criteria, but this Zionism is a racist project, and it's deeply racist and Islamophobic against Muslim people. And
how dare we, in a country that champions free speech, let this sort of thing influence things like graduation season? It's an absolute generational failing, and I hope that this is the last generation it's allowed to happen.
Absolutely. Calling it what it is, a racist decision by USC, I think is the way to actually frame this in an honest way. But CNN chose not to go down that road, obviously.
So again, we see some radical leftists with their not genocide, how should I call that? Let's just say their dangerous stupidity. So there are idiots that are, okay, their idiocy doesn't affect the world. It's not dangerous to humanity. But these idiots, their stupidity is really dangerous. That's why I'm so fascinated with these fools. So they don't know what they are talking about. They don't know anything. Yet they have a conviction like we will change the world. Never mind that how they will change the world is to the worse in levels that let's erase a democracy, a modern democracy, and make it an ISIS caliphate. That will help the world. That will be the blessing of this world. And whatever. Okay, so let me educate you what is an ethno-state. First of all, ethnos comes from a Greek word, and it just means, ironically in Greek, just means a state. In other words, a place with specific borders, with specific laws, with a constitution for the Greek people. In other words, people that have the same language, the same culture, the same religion, and so on. Okay, so it's a state for the Greeks. Okay, that doesn't mean other people cannot come and live in Greece as equal citizens, but it's also not a shame to have a country for the Greeks. UK is an ethno-state. Okay, it's not a problem. That is not a problem. In fact, to dismantle ethno-states is essentially to dismantle culture, historical memory, languages. It's a cultural holocaust. It's the end of humanity as we know it. So ethno-states is a good thing. You say Israel should be dismantled because it's an ethno-state. Are you serious? You know how serious is what you are saying. It's more than a crime against people. It's a crime against a specific cultural, historical memory. It's higher than that. For example, my dear friend, I would have died for Greece in seconds. My life comparing to the glory of Greece is nothing. Nothing. Are you serious? And you are wondering why the Israelis are fighting back. Come come to conquer Greece and see what happens. What the 300 did, they were defending Greece. Okay.
He did not wish tribute or song. No monuments, no poems of war and valor. His wish was simple. Remember us, he said to me. That was his hope. Should any free soul come across that place. In all the countless centuries yet to be, may all our voices whisper to you from the ageless stones. Go tell the Spartans passerby that here, by Spartan law, we lie. And so my king died, and my brothers died. Barely a year ago. Long I pondered my king's cryptic talk of victory. Time has proven him wise. But from free Greek to free Greek, the word was spread that bold Leonidas and his 300, so far from home, laid down their lives, not just for Sparta, but for all Greece, and the promise this country holds. Now, here on this rugged patch of earth called Plataea, Xerxes' hordes face obliteration! Just there, the barbarians huddle. Sheer terror gripping tight. Their hearts, with icy fingers, knowing full well what merciless horrors they suffered at the swords and spears of 300. Yet they stare now, across the plain, at 10,000 Spartans, commanding 30,000 free Greeks. Ho! The enemy outnumber us a paltry 3-1. Good odds for any Greek. This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine. Give thanks, man! To Leonidas and the brave 300! To victory!
Yes, yes. Yes, you radical leftist. After drinking a macchiato at Starbucks, you decided to dismantle ethno-states. Come, dismantle Greece. Come to dismantle Greece. Come and get it. That was the Greeks, the Spartans. By the way, I am from Sparta. The village of my father is near the statue of Leonidas. And you know what is underneath the statue of Leonidas? Molon lave. Come and take them. Come and take them. Because you decided while drinking a macchiato that ethno-states is not important. Are you serious, my friends?
For Arabs and Jews, Muslims, Jews, everyone to live together.
Live together. Guys, the radical leftists have one-step mental process. Okay, we should live together. In what country, though? Maybe under a caliphate. Okay, so you have one stage thinking. We should all live together. That's very nice. We agree. Then there is a second stage in thinking. Okay, we are living together, but should we preserve culture? Should we preserve language? Religion, maybe we should preserve, or the only virtue is we should live together.
Without this sort of project on top of it. So when she says, should Israel exist, should a exclusively Jewish state exist? And the answer is no.
Yes, and by the way,
So 73% of Israel are Israelis, Jews. 21%, about 2 million people, are Arabs. Arab citizens of Israel, in Israel, have the exact same rights against the law, against Israeli law, as Jewish people. So they already live together. But this is not what you want. You want to dismantle Israel, the institution, the country. You want to dismantle the country and make, I don't know, a caliphate, an ISIS caliphate. I don't know what you want to make. In fact, it's not accurate to ask what you want to make, because you are just useful idiots for Islamists. So let's ask Islamists what they want to
And
make.
you corrected me. It wasn't that political Islam is dead. You said that political Islam...
Going beyond political Islam.
Okay. Would you say then, this says we need to go back to wrap up the cases, but would a military coup be more impactful to implement Sharia? What I'm asking you is, you said the way to fail the Islamic movement is by giving them power, so we can tell you that, look, with power, there's a lot of failures. So would it not be more effective to be a bit more harder?
Revolutionary.
Yeah, no. Like a military coup, wouldn't that be more impactful? That has a better track record.
This is unthinkable in humanity. It's actually impossible to comprehend, and this is what we're watching every single day. But we are not just here for sympathy. We're not just here to mourn, because that's not the only thing that we're seeing in our hands day by day. We are seeing unfathomable resistance, unfathomable bravery, unfathomable resistance.
My young lady, your complaints to God, because that is the nature of this world. In this world that we live in, wars are sometimes necessary to defeat evil. If we don't defeat evil, in fact, things become worse. For example, in World War II, good people didn't like, 60 million people to die in horrible ways. But it was necessary to defeat Nazis. The same way, now it's necessary to defeat terrorists. Okay, what can we do now? In fact, people like you that are supporting and give false hopes to terrorists and dictators, they are prolonging the suffering of Palestinians. This issue should have been resolved decades ago.
We are here to fight. We are here in solidarity. We are here with the Palestinian people. We are here to struggle. Because this is not their problem over there. Those bombs, they may be dropped by Israel, but they're American made.
Yes, America, the greatest country of the world, Palestine, a terrorist state. Those are simple facts. Palestinians attacked the free world on 7th of October with heinous ways that made it necessary now to completely destroy Hamas. Those are the facts of reality. Okay, whether you like it or not. Thank you very much.